bald guys talking about hockey. Two bald guys and they're 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 talking about hockey. And they're bald. And there's hockey. Hockey.
Ian, have you ever been to the Richmond Arena before?
I have not been to the Richmond Arena.
There it is. That's the Richmond Arena.
Okay.
Okay, we are live, guys. I have two special guests here. One of them is not John, and either is the other one. So we have Ian, you all know, and many of you are going to be surprised to know that we actually do have a GM in Nashville, and Neil is here with us today to prove that it is here. So say hi to everybody while I post the link and let everybody know where we are. So you guys talk.
Hi, everyone. Yep, no, I'm a real person. It's not Steve dressed up. It's me.
I'm not that good looking, right?
So how about the Four Nations tournament? What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic for hockey. Like, I mean, that's ultimately, I mean, obviously a Canadian happy that Canada won, but I think the biggest winner is hockey and the fans in general.
Yeah, well, like I was telling Steve earlier, like I was surprised like how good the tournament actually really was, like an all-star type game, and it was like brand new, but they were actually pretty gritty. The games were really good, pretty exciting.
Yeah, and the players.
I was surprised. Like I went into it not really being too keen on the tournament,
Yeah.
and then it hooked me in. I'm not gonna lie. The games were much better than I thought, and it was fun.
Yeah, and it brought back memories of, like, the old World Cup of hockey that they ran, and the Mario goal way back when we were playing the Russians, who are the big rivalry because there wasn't a lot of Russians in the NHL. So now the new rival we have is with the Americans, and I think that the politics, the Trump comments, all the other stuff that led up to it, and then the fights in the first game just brought the intensity, and I think it the players wanted it. It meant something, and they haven't had a best on best tournament in years, and I think it showed. And I think that we need more of that.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know if people know, but Neil is from the evil empire, also known as the United States. So,
Yep.
Well,
pretty soon you guys are gonna be the 51st state, so I can't wait. You guys are more than welcome.
Yes, well. Or when, you become the 11th province.
That's right.
Well, I'm okay with that too. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Actually, you're from Michigan, and I mean, that's like, I grew up in Windsor. My cousin lives in Detroit. He married a girl from Detroit. It's not uncommon thing to happen. Like, I spent a lot of time in Detroit bars.
Yeah, because I would go to Casino Windsor all the time. Well, Caesars now, but I used to go there all the time when I was 18, 19.
And none of the strip clubs in Windsor?
Nope. I didn't go to Cheetahs, unfortunately. I drove by it.
You know the name of it. Come on.
I do know the name of it. But I did not frequent the Cheetahs.
Yeah, see, the Detroit strip clubs had better women, but they had to wear they had G-string laws in Detroit.
Yeah. See, we had the opposite. I grew up in Ottawa, and we had Hull in Quebec, where you a year younger and a lot more liberal. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so
just going back to the World Cup of hockey, one thing I thought was funny, I was listening to the Empty Netters podcast, and they were talking about they need to get it to mean something next time. So that they said there needs to be something on the line. And what they suggested was that if the U.S. wins, they get all dressed chips until the next one. And if Canada wins, we get Southern barbecue.
There you go.
Oh, man. Who do you want to root for in that situation, eh?
Yeah.
Such
Hey, give us
dire stakes.
So that was pretty funny.
Not like poutine and Southern barbecue or something. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to start off with Ian wants to do a lottery.
Yeah.
And I'll let you sort of take over, explain things, and then go ahead and lotter.
Yeah, so again, for those that have been around a while, this started when Luke first won for San Jose, and he decided that he was going to donate his winnings back to the pool and do a draw for all the teams. To the winner would
Hold
get.
on, guys. I don't
Yeah.
think we're live.
Okay. It says the content. It says live. The content of this meeting has been sent to a third party.
Yeah, but we are not. Oh, are we? Okay, sorry, carry on.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah. So yeah, so Luke started the trend, and he basically did a draw with his winnings, and he sort of said that the winners would whoever won would get a jersey of their choice. And if I'm not mistaken, Randall won that year and got his Dallas jersey sent to him when he was the former GM of the Dallas team.
Yeah.
And then when I won for the first time, I really liked that idea. So I did the same thing with my winnings that time, and we did a draw for everyone. And Flax won. And so I sent Flax an Islanders jersey, and that was great. So when I was fortunate again to win this past year, I sort of said, okay, well, I want to do the same again. I want to do another draw. The unfortunate thing is it took a lot longer to get to this point of doing the draw, and I apologize for that. But what I did this time is I tied the draw instead of having all 32 GMs in the draw. I basically had said that, hey, those GMs that want to write an article on their state of their team would be entered in the draw for the jersey. Because of the delays that existed over the summer in terms of getting this going, it gave actually a few GMs, the time and the opportunity to write an article, and a couple of them snuck in by the wire based on the Nathan MacKinnon trade.
Yeah, Mike Gilletto.
So Mike Gilletto got his name in the draw for a jersey because he had not done one previously. And what I also did is I sort of took the list of the GMs that wrote articles from the win of playoffs from last year up until this point. And then I added if there was GMs that had not written an article but had done something positive for the league, volunteering to be part of the bog or running in the election to be part of the bog. So Montreal has got an entry in there. And then I added a second entry for a couple teams that have gone, in my opinion, have gone above and beyond what the normal expected participation is of GMs. So both bald guys have an extra entry in there. And then Seattle has an extra entry in there for literally commenting on every Facebook post that's made in the league. I don't know how he does it, but literally every Facebook post is in
He's
there.
resigned his job. He's got no family now, and he just simply is a DCHL GM.
Yeah. And Utah has a second entry in there because their proportion of articles that they wrote, especially in the summer last year, was much higher than any of the other GMs. So those four GMs have extra names in the hat. And so in total, we have 25 names in the draw that I'm going to run right here and pick a name out of the hat in terms of one winner.
Is this it? Like this is like drum
This
roll
is
and
this
we're
is
doing
the
it?
drum roll live draw. Yeah, here we go. We've got two there, so we have one winner right now, and that winning team. If anyone can read that.
Oh!
Oh, damn.
Oh!
I need to come to more often.
Okay, just Ian, reach into the bowl and pull out just any other name to prove that it's not 25 Nashville sitting in that bowl.
Well, what you didn't realize is so the Nashville one is going to come out of my winnings, but we as the bog talked, and we were actually going to do a second draw. So there's actually going to be a second winner and two jerseys going out, and that's from the bog. We increased the cost of the league by $10 this year, so instead of 50, we're paying $60. So as part of that, we don't want to run a profit in terms of the league, so we're going to take some of that extra revenue and do a second draw for a second winning GM, and that way you can see that it's not. Now this will be funny if it's Ottawa. So
Not that funny. I mean, if I can bring a draft lottery, this ought to be easy, right? Okay. I actually am good. I will give my I told you before if you drew my name.
You did.
So go ahead, pick somebody else because I don't need another jersey. My wife would kill me. Okay. Now I don't want that guy to win, so you're gonna have to
So Vancouver. So I'm
Vancouver.
going
There you go. Jean Brisson, you owe me one, big guy.
so Jean Brisson and Neil. So I'll reach out, Neil, and I'll get your address and I'll get your size and I'll get the jersey that you want and the name on the back. And
Perfect.
and we'll go from there. And I'll basically just go online, I'll order it and ship it right to your place. And same
Right.
with Jean. We'll do the same sort of thing and get Jean's address and everything else. And then we'll get the jersey that he wants, the name on the back, and ship it to
Yeah,
him.
so give us an idea of like you're not locked to it right now, or maybe you are. But what's your first thought here on a jersey? Like I think you're a Red Wings fan.
Yep. So I will probably do a Moritz Sider one.
Moritz Sider.
Yep.
Really?
Yep, I'll get Moritz.
I will
It's either
give you
that
the
or Dylan
warning
Larkin.
though.
It's one of the two.
And is there a jersey that you want? The home, the away, the third jersey, the Winter Classic from years, like if I can find it?
Uh, just the red one.
The Red Wing.
Yep, that'd be
Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
Cool.
It's either that or Dylan Larkin, but Larkin gets so much jerseys anyways. Give Mo a chance.
The day he was drafted, everyone was like, "What the hell are the Red Wings doing?"
Yeah.
I remember Steve Yzerman being interviewed. I think it was by TSN, and they said to him like, why did you reach on this guy?" And he's like, "Stone face Steve Yzerman. I don't think we were reaching." Like, what do you mean? Like,
That
Because wasn't
that
that the Broberg draft too, where everybody thought they were going to draft Broberg?
uh, what year was
uh,
2017,
I'd have to go back and look.
20, no, 29, 2019. 2019 was Sider, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was the Jacob Pelche year I drafted Jacob Pelche. So that's why I think it's Sider. And Randy took him in the DCHL. And Randy was like, "I'm just going to go BPA. Everybody's slipping on this guy, and I'll just take him."
Yeah, that is the Broberg draft, and Broberg was taken 2 picks later.
Yep. Because I know there's a Swedish guy, that was Broberg. Everybody wanted Broberg, at least here in Detroit. That's what they're talking about was Broberg. And that's when they did Moritz, and they're like, why the hell do they take Moritz?
Yeah.
And it's something we didn't.
Nope.
Okay, so I want to put you on while we got you here, Neil. Well, or why we've got this paid actor to pretend to be Neil.
Correct.
I want you to respond to trading Nathan MacKinnon, and like that, like in our league, that is a huge trade. I guess in any league, he is just watching him at the Four Nations. He was clearly the second best player in the world in that tournament. To my eyes, he was outstanding, and
He was
just
very, very good.
Yeah, and to see him get traded literally while the tournament was going on, I'm not gonna lie, made me cry a little bit inside.
Yeah.
It was definitely sad. He was a big part of like our organization. I saw we got him back about 5 years ago. But my issue is with Johnny Gaudreau, unfortunately passing this summer. And then most of my team was like free agents, and I only have them for 2 more years. Like my key guys are free agents. I had to make some kind of move for the future. Especially since I haven't had a first round pick since 2022. I did take Cole Dubois at last year's draft, but I had no future, and I'm pretty sure I got a really good deal for him. I got Will Coyle. He's a really nice, good power forward. Ryan McLeod. He's a good middle six center. I think really high at Denver Barkey too. He's a really good spark plug, 2-year all player. And then picks are going to help me too, because this will be the first time this franchise has had 3 first round picks.
Oh, you have 3 first round picks?
Yep. Right now I got mine, Carolina, and Calgary's. So I should be able to have 5 picks in the top 50 this year. If everything just ends like how it is right now, and that will definitely help my future. I'm not totally tanking and like giving in for next year. Still going to compete, but I just want to get a little bit more depth in here so that way I can focus more on other areas.
Okay. Ian, do you want to comment on the trade?
Yeah, well, my comment number one is that, as much as they may not amount to anything, I think that adding the fifth and the three prospects and the one prospect and the three minor leaguers was unnecessary. Call a spade a spade. Like it's just, unless you didn't rate them at all, to me, you could have said, I'm trading Nathan MacKinnon. I'm not adding anything.
Which is true.
Yeah.
It's possible. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Rubinski's, am I wrong that Rubinski's actually done so? Like, has he been to the NHL? Like, I seem to remember. Am I thinking of someone else? But Rubinski.
From what I saw, like he's playing in overseas now. He was like an AHL. I think he got like one NHL game.
Oh, did he get booted?
Yeah, he's already gone.
Who, Rybinski?
Okay.
No, he's in, AHL.
He's
Hershey.
AHL.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay, that's how I know him because I'm always checking on Fabian Lysell with Hershey's. Or no, sorry, the goalie Hunter Shepherd.
Oh yeah, Hunter Shepherd.
So yeah, so whether or not they amount to anything, I just, they might have been throw-ins and stuff like that, but I don't think that, I think they could have stayed under Nashville team control. Now, that being said, when the time comes, would you have to make decisions on them because of asset limits? If you're getting more draft picks and you're getting these farm players, maybe, I get that in the long term. At some point, you might have to make based on our asset limit, you might have to make decisions, and then you're just releasing them anyway. So yeah, fine. I saw
right
all
there
the other
with
things
that
going the other way. I was like, oh, that was just for Nathan MacKinnon. So
yep. No, I totally get it. I had to give up those guys because I was already at 59, and I already knew I had the other deal with Boston coming too. So like I had to clear some space.
Yep,
that's
fair
what
enough.
I throw them in.
Yeah.
But I think I got a pretty good deal though, because I really do like Will Coyle. He's a really good power play guy. He's kind of mean. I like him. I think Denver
Windsor Spitfire too, right?
Yep, he's a Spitfire. I traded with. I got him actually from you in OTHL as well. You had Will Coyle and I traded for him.
Yeah, I hate Will Coyle, to be honest. I really didn't like him. So, yeah, you texted me yesterday I don't know. I've been out of some meat, so my brain's fried. You texted me in the last day or so what I thought of the trade.
Mm.
And I think my answer was trading. I hadn't really looked at it. All I remember seeing, first thing I saw, I like Ryan McLeod. I do like Ryan McLeod. I do like Connor Zary. He's really come along this year.
Yeah, he has.
I remember the first year he was in the AHL, he was lost, like he was a mess. But he's been really good since, like he's progressed quite a bit. I really like that. I really don't know Samu Tuamala very much at all. Like I'll like it sounds like a guy Jean probably knows, so we'll have to wait for the other ball. But Denver Barkey was a guy that I was interested in his draft year. I think that was 2 years ago, if I'm right. And there was like question marks. And I didn't draft him because I think Mike picked him like a pick or two just before me, if I remember correctly. Because I remember Mike and I talking about it. Because he was a guy that I was kind of like, do I want him? Do I not want him? But like, the problem with trading a guy like Nathan MacKinnon, in my mind, is you're always trying to get a guy on your roster like Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah,
correct.
Right? So,
if I could have kept him past 2 years, I totally would have. But since he's going to hit free agency, it was just something that I needed to do to at least get some assets for him.
Well, and you got like I'm not going to say you didn't get anything good because I do like some of the players you got, but I mean, it's Nathan MacKinnon, so good job.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Hindsight is 2020. Were there other offers on the table? Would other GMs stepped up and probably offered more? Oh, after the fact, maybe.
Well, that's the one thing I'll say about this league is you get 20 guys after every trade. You get 20 guys coming. I would have given up more. Yeah, really? Would you?
I only had 3 offers for him.
Well,
And only
some
two
of
of
the
them
guys
are
that are
super.
always coming out with those statements are guys that I know never offer you anything in a trade.
Yep.
So
Because I had one offer that was pretty much garbage. Like it was like nothing. And I was like, no, I'm not trading him for that. I did have one other deal that I was close with, but the other team, originally it was one guy, a first round pick, and it was a former top 10 pick, and he ended up changing it to someone else, and then he's humming and hawing about it. And then with Carolina deal came on the table, and I just thought the value was good with Zeri and McLeod and the
well,
Coil.
McKinnon's UFA at the end of this year,
No, one more.
Next.
1 full year.
Yep.
Okay, so you did well. You did well. Like I don't think you did badly.
Yeah.
But,
If I could have kept him, I would have kept him. Like if
Yeah.
he could be able to sign our free agents right out, I would have kept him.
And maybe
But-
Mike's the only one that can answer it. You know, I looked at the deal and my thought was it's and this is not meant to be a slight, Neil, but it's a decent return. It's not an outstanding return. It's a decent return.
Mm.
But based on the league and the offers and where people are salary cap wise, it's tough to move that player to someone who's going to be able to afford him because there's so many teams that are close to the cap. Yes, teams could make it and flip players back to you. But when I looked at Carolina's roster, I would have said, hey, unless you're including someone like Brock Faber, we're not even talking.
well, that's what I was going to say. I wanted to ask Neil if Brock Faber was ever in the conversation.
So Brock Faber was untouchable. He would not trade Brock Faber. I did ask.
Then I would have said then MacKinnon's not going to the Hurricanes. Like unless you're getting a player of that quality coming back. And
That
maybe
is true.
it's easy for me to say because I don't make a lot of trades, and maybe that's why I don't make a lot of trades.
So you and me, you and me are probably very similar. That's probably why you and I don't make a lot of trades yet because we're very much we set our line,
Yep.
and if nobody meets the line, then we don't make the trade. That's fine.
What I do like about the trade, Neil, and where I'll give you credit is okay, there's we can say what we want about Denver Barkey, and the high end prospect idea that I like the fact that you've got guys that are already there that have stepped up and are young players on their teams in roles versus, hey, I'm going to trade this for 5 draft picks, which is going to be a crapshoot. I'm going to trade this for prospects who look great right now, but may or may not amount. If you go back any draft 5 years and still look at the first round, there's guys that are still not there.
Right.
Still not made it. So trading them when they're prospects and they're just not yet ranked, I like the idea that you got guys that are a little bit more established that can roll right into your roster.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was going for. I was trying to actually get like young NHL players so I can actually have 7-8 years with instead of just a year and a half.
Or complete or trading MacKinnon for your own dice rolls.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think Kiley. I don't know Kyle how it's pronounced, but he's stuck in the NHL. So, which proves me wrong on him. But again, I like Connor Zary. I like Brian McLeod. I don't really know, Niederreiter a whole lot, but
he was just a cap dump. Like that's what he was.
Yeah,
I think he's got like.
And you have an extra first round pick. So, and having 3 of them, I don't know what you want to do. Maybe you want to package some and move up, or you got
I'll probably try to package them up and try to either move up or trade them for established players.
Well, I have Buffalo's first round pick, and I might be willing to take a couple late picks for Buffalo's first round pick.
Okay.
So
Buffalo's first round pick, if things keep going, I'm right on that. I could be lottery. I could be.
Well, it's funny because the clause in that trade is that if I pass you in the standings, I lose a second round pick.
Yeah.
So my dream scenario for the first time in league history is to finish 1 spot behind you. I told Nathan this one night. I'm like, I want you out of the playoffs, Ian in second, and me in third, like in the division in third, so that I'm getting that 1 spot difference in the pick, and that's Freddie Anderson trade. So I don't have to give up a second round pick. I drop one spot in the draft to get Freddie Anderson. So if you don't mind, cooperating with that, that'd be great.
Well, it's sort of that as well, but the actual conditions on the pick are if it ends up in the top 10, I get Zach Ostapchuk for 15 million.
Oh
So
yeah, I think Jean will be married to Zach Snapchat for the
I
rest
know,
of his life.
I know he
No,
is.
yeah, sorry.
He's
That's
not
okay.
going anywhere.
I was
No,
at
no.
I was
Zach,
at the
Zach,
Sens
Zach,
game, his first NHL game.
yeah, Matt Savoy and Zach Ostapchuk both went to my daughter. My daughter's the same age, and they were part of the same friend group at high school. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
was he in the picture you sent me with your daughter with the
Yeah,
two guys?
Matt Savoy is the one in the sunglasses, and Zach's the tall one on either side of my daughter.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so
That's
Zach,
awesome.
I was pretty peeved that draft year because I was going to take Zach with my first pick, and then Jean jumped up and took him. So I had literally a secondary person. Where I live in St. Albert, we run a big bantam tournament every year, or U16 or U15, whatever they call it now, U14 tournament every year. That is AAA. It's the biggest one in Western Canada. So I follow a lot. I volunteer at the tournament and I follow a lot of those guys that are the standouts of the tournament to see where they get drafted in the WHL and where they sort of go. So I'm doing my early scouting on these guys. So I have, if you look at my draft history, most people, criticize whatever, but I have random guys that I like, that are typically going to be WHL guys. I look for sort of the NCAA, the European free agents that are going to get rated fast right away, the cuts that people shouldn't have cut. And so I'm taking off the board picks most of the time and getting my guys, so to speak. And Zach was one of those ones that I wanted just because of the connection. I knew I was never going to get Matt because I wasn't getting a lottery pick, but Zach was one I thought I had because I had sort of a higher end in the second round pick. And then Jean took him, and I was pretty peeved. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll get my backup, which is a guy I've been watching for years when he played for Yale Academy at the tournament that we had in Bantam. And Gage took him 2 picks before me, and that was Logan Stankoven.
I love Logan
Hey,
Stankoven. I got him in the
I,
OTHL.
I will say this though, like two things. Number
Yep.
one, Zach Snapchat is exactly a Jean pair.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Zach or sorry, Zach. Jean has loved that kid since junior. Like
Yep.
he has talked about that kid, and
Captain of
again,
the Vancouver Giants, played World Junior 2 times. Oh yeah, like
yeah, Jean and I like very different prospects, generally speaking.
yeah.
And I was not big on Zach and Snapchat, and Jean was.
Yeah.
And
Well, Zach's ceiling is going to be a third line player. He's never going to be a top six. He's going to be a third line player who's
yeah,
responsibly defensively, who's not going to play power play, but he's going to do your penalty kill, and he can move up if necessary because he's a fantastic skater. But that's pretty much his ceiling. So that's why I thought even Ottawa, I thought reached for him in the second round. But maybe he also fits the mold of what Ottawa looks for in a player. Like they go for size. At the time, they went for size.
well,
That power forward mentality is, and then every time you guys talk and Jean comes on, he likes his big defensemen. He likes his big forwards. I mean,
I we Jean and I talk like this is like 80% of what Jean and I talk about every week. And, like I swear, Jean and I could probably draft for each other. Like
okay.
Jean could pick players that I'm gonna like, and I'd pick a team that he would like because we just know each other so well, and we just like different guys. Like I don't know.
And what do you like?
Okay, I like the skill. I value the skill uh, and the speed and the playmaking
Mm-hmm.
aspects to a player,
Mm-hmm.
and Jean likes the size more. Like we do like a lot of the same qualities, but Jean will value the size and the physicality more than I.
Okay.
And
Well,
Yeah, I put more towards.
I'll put more emphasis on the skill and I like feisty. Like that's
okay.
why maybe I take more Jacob Peltier's because they're just feisty little dominant. Like they just go crazy when they're on their game.
Okay.
So,
I like
but
skill and speed. That's what I usually go for,
yeah,
skill and speed.
but you know, but I was not going to touch who was the Montreal defenseman that's having the Rookie of the Year season. Oh my God,
Lane
Lane
Hudson.
Hudson?
yeah, Hudson. I was not going to draft Hudson at all. So,
No?
like, no, and same thing with Aaron Kiviharju. You know, like some point you got to. And this is what I see with Hudson now is on the power play. That guy is unfucking believable.
Yeah.
But
I like guys that just are shift. Like I don't care about size. I like guys that are shifty. And that's not speed, but just guys who use their edges and skate well. So I'll throw out some names just because that way it's there, it's referenced, and people aren't going to go back and watch this in years. But this year, Cameron Schmidt this year is very high on my list. Next year, well, other years coming up, a guy named Mathis Preston was the best player I've ever seen at this tournament, better than Connor Bedard. He won't get the same ratings as Connor Bedard and probably won't amount to the same thing, but just absolutely fantastic for his age. Brock Cripps, best defenseman I've seen in the tournament. And this year, a guy, Madden Deneau, and a guy named Cruz Jin. So there's some names for you for future years going up sort of 4 and 5 years down the road of guys that I'm going to be watching. So Mats Lindgren was a player on my team that I track. Cone Zemer is another one that I track from the tournament. So the guys I draft are guys that I've seen since literally the age of 14.
wow, that's cool.
That is really
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
I sort of have that with swimming when I'm watching when I'm watching Penny Alexiak, who I've known since she was 11 years old,
Exactly. Yeah.
sitting on winning a medal at the Olympics, and
Yeah.
like, wow, okay, cool.
So yeah, you got your Landon DuPonts, you got your stars, and those are your stars. But I'm looking for the guys that are, late first, early second, that I'm willing to take wherever my pick is, just because I want them on my team. I've been following them since 14, and they have the intangibles that I like, and that's usually shifty. They're speedy, they're good on the puck, they got quick releases. If they're forwards, defense, they're ready to join the attack. I don't care about the size. They're ready to join the attack at any moment, and they're thinking offensively, but responsible defensively.
Well, you took one of the players in the draft this past year, a little guy who went in the 4th round. I'm trying to think of his name.
Justin Poirier.
Justin Poirier. The guy's got a shot like a cannon.
Yep.
And he's a scoring machine. And if that kid, like, I don't see that kid not making it to the NHL, to be honest. Like I was surprised that he slipped in the NHL draft. And okay, I was happy for you, but I was pissed that it was you that you drafted him.
Well, no,
because he was a great pickup. I think we even talked about that on our show.
We did, yeah. And the other, like I said, the other guys are, some kind of connection to. So like, I like the guys that I like, and hometown kids. I'm always looking for St. Albert kids, so that's where I got Michael Benning. He's a local kid as well. So.
And I was pissed when you drafted him.
Yeah, he's a fantastic skater as well, and I'm not looking for that 6'4" defenseman that's going to be, the Colton Parayko's and that doesn't matter to me. I like the guys that I like. So, and that's the team that I want to build, and I like the hunt. I mean, that's what, a lot of times why I'm looking for those best players that are coming over and the names that no one's heard of. And most of them, if a 5th, 6th, 7th round draft, or even a 4th round pick, I'm willing to throw at them because it's a throwing at a dartboard anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I feel like, and we've had this conversation on off the board backs. I feel like I'd rather gamble on a 21-year-old that I have more information on than an 18-year-old that, like, really, how much information do we really have on an 18-year-old in the NHL draft?
Oh yeah, but
they could be 17 as well.
But and they never be first, second line. But you got guys like Rory Cairns who are playing and getting opportunities.
Well, and he was a COVID baby, like a COVID kid.
Yep.
And you got to watch him play a couple years later, and you're like, okay, like this is a kid I want to draft.
Well, look on Brendan Hagel.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even Connor Brown back in the day.
Yeah, like these
Connor
guys.
Brown was all over the place.
I still go back, like I like whatever reason, you got Kuzmenko, who is following sort of the path of Kubalik, have one fantastic season, think they're going to be and then all of a sudden taper off, and teams don't want them, and then go back to Europe. That's okay too. I'm willing to roll the dice if it's going to hit. Maybe it may never be another Artemi Panarin, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then
what about the sorry, I just want to bring it back to the trade, on the Bobrovsky trade. So Neil, trading Bobrovsky. You got just talk about what you got back in return.
So I got Casey D. Smith. She's a pretty good backup goalie for next year. So right now I'm thinking about next year too. So I'll have Anthony Stolarz and Casey D. Smith. Have it maybe a tandem at least. It's a decent tandem. Tanner Gino, I already tried to put him on the block. I might try to trade him for something. And then Brandon Brisson is a really skilled kid. Michigan. He went to the University of Michigan a couple of years ago. Injuries have kind of taken him down a little bit, but Bobrovsky can only play 12 or 13 more games before he's sit. And he's a unrestricted free agent. I'm not going to be able to bring him back. But I think Brisson, if he can stay healthy, is going to be a pretty good middle six skilled forward.
How many more games until the trade deadline?
I think it's in about 2 weeks. I don't know exactly when it is.
Well, because John and I were talking about whether if Bobrovsky had played all his games.
Yep.
And he was suspended.
Yep.
Would he still count towards the cap if he was suspended?
Yep.
He would still count?
He'd still count towards the cap. Yeah. The only time is if they're on long-term injured reserve, and that's when I have to manually put them there.
Okay. Let's say on my roster, because I'm really tight to the cap, one of my players gets suspended.
Yep.
I can't call somebody up because I don't have cap space. What happens?
We figure it out.
Okay.
The best way to, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Well, because I don't like this was actually one of the things we talked about one night when we were talking about Bobrovsky. Because if you could pick up Bobrovsky if he's suspended for the rest of the season,
yeah,
and you can just leave him there until the playoffs, damn, his value goes up if he doesn't count towards the cap.
The easy thing on the Bobrovsky one is he's technically not suspended. I put him as injured, so that I just leave him as injured.
Okay.
I don't suspend them. I just put his condition down at like 20%. So there's 0% chance he's going to play again this year, and then I bump it right back up again to 100% come the playoffs.
Okay. It was just a question that I had.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I essentially make them injured, so it still counts towards the cap. The suspensions one, to answer your question, I'm not 100% sure on the suspensions. I'm fairly certain, but in suspensions from a goalie perspective, 100% they count towards the cap.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'd rather people not be able to game the system like I was talking about. So.
Yeah. Fortunately, knock on wood again, that I don't draw Ottawa and Nashville. There's not too many suspensions.
Yeah. Okay. And sorry, the Johnny Gaudreau trade. You just got Brian Dumoulin really at $3 million.
Yep. So really for just a defender for next year, and I figured Johnny Gaudreau would probably end up getting traded again anyways. So give him a chance to actually win.
Well, he did.
Yeah, he did. He scored 2 goals against me. So he got back at me. But
Zach lost $1 million in that trade. Yeah, I did the same thing here. I put my hand in my head. I know Zach is watching right now, but
for someone who's so desperate for cash, why not at least break even?
Yeah. Right. I feel like New Jersey wouldn't have damn it, no, these only worth 2 million instead of 3. I feel like that wouldn't have been a stopping point.
I feel like that Cher song should play, like Groundhog Day.
Okay, and sorry, the last one that we talked about a little bit before we went on was Dante Fabro, Declan Carlisle, and Logan O'Connor.
So now that I've had like what eight forwards that came in, I was just trying to make room and fix my defense a little bit because I don't have too many defense coming. So I figure Fabro right now. I know the last 2 weeks or so, well before the Four Nations, he was averaging about 21, 22 minutes a game for Columbus in real life. So I thought take a stab at it, see what happens, and then Carlisle, he's an interesting prospect. I know he was a Hobie Baker finalist a couple years ago. So I thought it was worth a shot at it. And then get some more depth on my defense.
Who was the easiest GM to work with in these trades? And I don't mean like you don't have to call somebody else for being a dick, but I mean if you want to, go for it. But
so I would probably Mike was probably the easiest. Because basically
I
you said
found Mike easy to deal with in trades.
yeah, no, like he was like super easy to deal with. And he wasn't like really pushy either. Because I know some GMs would get like really, really pushy. I haven't really had to really deal with it that much in this league. But like Mike was pretty easy to talk to about it. I was trying to get Faber, but he said like no to Faber. And outside of that, it was pretty much easy after that.
Oh.
I was looking at Mike's roster and I was shocked at how many players he had on the US Four Nations team on his team.
Yeah, he's got a bunch there.
He's a proud American hockey fan. Like he is definitely a red, white, and blue through and through hockey guy.
Yeah, Brock Nelson and then Trocheck and Faber and Slavin. He still has Parise from the leftover from 2010.
So he's a big fan of that silver medal winning hockey.
I should get Matt to change the Hurricanes logo to silver for him. Actually, all the Americans' logos to silver.
Yes, there you go.
There we go.
It's probably about 50-50. I've never actually counted how many American, how many Canadian. Like it might be slightly tilted Canadian.
I think it's slightly tilted Canadian because we still have Randy's American.
Randy's American.
And then we have our Philly crew, which is Josh, Mike, Jake, and then we have Neil.
Mark is
Mark
as well.
Yeah, Mark and Mark, both Marks.
Yeah.
Rangers Mark. Let me just go back to the website and see who else. Canadian, American. Chris Jacobus I think is American.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Canadian. I don't know where Trevor D's from, but I'm assuming Canada.
I think he might be one of the Leaf fans in the league.
Okay.
I think he might be one of the few Leaf fans. Like I think he's from somewhere in my area of the world.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's it. No, we have and then Vegas, both GMs.
Yeah. Yes. He's supposed to be on this show. I want Corey on this show. like nobody's business. He's like a pro. He can do all this shit. Maybe he should take over.
Yeah, make it the producer.
Well, Mark too. Mark Ramos has got his media credentials now too for what he's doing in Philly.
I saw that. They have a podcast.
Yeah, they have a podcast. Yeah,
but I mean, it's a much better podcast than.
Well, they have a podcast, but he also writes articles for an online one, and that's I think I'm not sure. I'm just speculating, but I think he got it from his online company, like the online articles that he writes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, versus the podcast he does with Mike.
Oh, so that's another guy I got to get on here.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's great. But Mark will still always be the guy who uh, missed his draft pick at 2 overall this past year. The shame. I had the BPA 2nd overall.
Oh. And I wonder what the trickle down effect of who he would have taken.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just go back and do the whole draft over, right?
Draft.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh God, yeah. And I won't take Andrew Bash at 26th then. Okay. Is there anything else any of you guys want to talk about?
You're not loving the Andrew Basha pick?
Oh well, he's injured. He got injured right away.
Okay.
And just having looked back at it, like I'm happy I took Andrew Bash. I stand by my selection there.
Yeah.
I think he was worth it at that spot. But having looked at what people picked after that, I feel like I still could have got him with my 2nd round pick. So,
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say thank you again for Maxime Tishpikov.
Simplikov. I swear, if you can't pronounce the name Don Cherry, you can't take the player.
he's played pretty well.
Yep. He's the kind of player that's on my. I knew he was on a lot of people's list. It's just a matter of where people were willing to take him.
We actually, Jean and I had a bet that you were going to take him with your 1st round pick, and then you traded your 1st round pick, I think, to Jean, right?
Yeah, part of one of the I can't remember what deal it was, but yes.
Yeah, but yeah, no, he's good. I haven't seen anybody like that for this year, but usually names start coming out in the next couple months.
There's really not that much that I've been paying attention to.
No.
I started to dive into my draft pile, and I haven't really nothing's really like stuck out.
What I got?
Uh,
I got 6 names right now on my list, and none of them are that quality.
I've got nobody of that quality, and I've got like 20 names.
Yeah, mine are my 6 off the board picks. I haven't see who is eligible. I gotta go through. The problem that exists is I think this is the last year where we didn't run the tournament because of the COVID, so I don't have a lot of my WHL guys that I normally I'm seeing where they get drafted and targeting. So
yeah, my off the board guys, my list I kept from last year because I didn't draft everybody.
yeah.
And I'm looking at the list right now. I've got 20 something names there.
Okay.
But some of them won't be eligible because they will have played in the AHL this year. I just haven't crossed them out yet.
Yeah.
So maybe 10 more guys that are new.
Okay.
But and those are just names right now. I haven't really
Done the dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go through spurts where all of a sudden I'll have a couple hours to kill, so I'll start going through the the stats and trying to find articles. There's less and less now, I find, though, like in terms of usually March timeframe is when you start seeing the names of potential late season ads and free agents who are coming out of their contracts and like the KHL or SHL and looking to come over, and that's when you start really delving into the names.
Well, you don't do the college guys.
I've gone away from the college guys because I found, a lot of them. At the beginning, I did a lot of college guys, and then and I find not a lot of them end up sticking. So my experience with them was not fantastic. So I always look at them just to see the names and double check. But and I got burned on Jimmy Schultz. Like I thought he was someone like captain of his team for 2 years, big guy, runs a power play, huge shot, that he was going to get a chance somewhere. And he's doing decently in the AHL, but he's on his 3rd team and not getting a sniff.
Yep.
Well, that was kind of Darren Radish for me though, right?
Yeah.
Like he was drifting around, and he was an overager from the OHL that I just picked up in like 6th or 7th round or something. And I just kept him because I kept watching him play, and I'm like, this guy can play. Like, I don't know why people aren't giving him a shot.
Yeah.
And he bounced around a couple teams, and finally Tampa Bay, who was desperate for cap space defenseman,
Yeah.
and now he's like an everyday defenseman. So
Yeah.
Nice sticking.
yeah, well, I think there's just some of this. There's definitely a bias in the NHL over guys that they draft. Like,
Oh yeah, for
there's
sure.
and they're not going to give a chance to guys that they did or not as much of a chance. So you're going to have to be twice as good to get a spot ahead of a guy that was drafted.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Well,
you
like look
gotta
at
wait.
Nick Blankenberg, the defenseman from Michigan a couple of years
Yep.
ago. He
Yep.
looked really, really solid all over the ice. He played like 16, 17 games for Columbus. I don't know where he's at now. I know he got traded, but I have no idea where he's at now. He's probably even out of it.
Who is it? I'll look it up right now.
Nick Blankenberg.
Oh, he's in. He was Nashville. He was Nashville.
Yeah.
He's in Nashville now.
He's got some. I think he's played up this year. He's got a few games this year, I think.
Yeah, he played against the
Oh wow,
Sens.
he's playing 34 now. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little guy, but he can skate
He's
like the
teeny
wind,
tiny.
and he was damn good puck skills.
Well, it's sometimes it's about the right player finding the right team in the home. I mean, that's Devontae's.
Yeah,
You know, he was laboring in New York, and then they got Noah Dobson, and they're giving more chances to their higher rated players and draft picks, and given the opportunity, and now he's the top defenseman on the Four Nations team.
yeah.
So sometimes it's just the right team, the right opportunity, and they run with it.
Yep. That's all they need, just the right spot, right team.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and having watched a lot of OHL
Yeah.
over the last few years, or sorry, no, AHL, sorry.
Mhm.
The difference between an AHL top pairing defenseman and an NHL 6th or 7th defenseman isn't that big.
No.
Like,
No.
it's just giving a guy an opportunity a lot of times. So you got to get a little lucky on these picks.
Well, that's what I'm banking on with Lawrence Palute, that he's going to come back when he's finally out of Buffalo's contract.
Oh man, oh man, I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
I love that guy. I think he is fantastic, and just the wrong team.
Because Buffalo, oh my God.
That's where prospects go to die.
Yeah.
The new Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
But okay, but they're a perfect example of what we're talking about, because JJ Peterka, Jack Quinn get right up into the team.
Yeah.
And pilot or whatever, however it's pronounced, was on my list too, man. Like I wanted it, but it's like he got like 10 games and that was it, right?
And looked good in the games, and was like an AHL All-Star and top line defense, and then they're signing like just junk like above him and signing them to multi-year deals, and then free agents comes and they sign a bunch of older guys. It was so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And you got your top defenseman Swedish. There's the connection there. Like it's just, I don't know. I was pretty disappointed with that. I like Kubalik. I moved on from him. I traded him. I still think in the right opportunity, he's got a natural shot and goal scorer. He just was a bit of a defensive liability. Disappeared in games. But Palute's the one that just Palute. I don't even know how to say it, but either way, he's the one.
Lawrence. Let's just call him Larry.
Larry, yeah. He's the one that is that I refuse to cut him. He's still on my asset list. I cut other guys before him. Holding out hope.
Yeah. Well, he's playing in Europe, I assume?
In Switzerland, and doing very well in Switzerland.
Well, the Swiss league pays too, eh?
Yep, and that's the problem. So he's on it. His contract exactly expires when he is no longer tied as where they hold his rights anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that with I drafted Prokhor Poltapov, who was a Buffalo pick, by the way. That was released by Seattle, second round guy.
Yeah.
And he just signed a 2-year contract with his team in the KHL. And I did the math, and it's like, oh, when you're 24, you'll come over, you'll do your 1 year of RFA.
Yeah.
or your ELC, sorry. You'll do your 1 year on your ELC, and then you'll go back to Russia probably and wait and come back when you can get the big deal.
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
Yeah, because they get paid. I mean, some leagues are paying still pretty good over there.
Oh, what did you guys think of the swag?
Oh, nice.
John, I got swag.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
My wife got one from my father-in-law got these for us. He's our biggest fan. And
Okay.
he bought one for my wife. And it's a very poorly located
Oh,
couple of oranges. I've noticed with Jean and I, they seem a little breast-like. But my wife's like, I can't wear that shirt. I have giant oranges on my breast. Maybe that's what we'll do one year for the prize.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The bald guys swag.
Hand it out to your fans. There you go, or your guests.
Yeah,
Every episode, hand out the shirts. There you go, man.
that's our ones of listeners. Okay, we're gonna wrap it here, boys. Thanks a lot, Ian, for coming on and handing out the prizes, the jerseys.
Thanks
And
for
Neil, thank you, or actor playing Neil, you did a great job. No one will ever suspect that you're not really the guy. You've already done
the draft.
You've already done 100 times more than any other previous Nashville GM.
That's pretty sad. That is very, very sad.
I can change. I can put Neil's nickname back, last name back on the side. I can change it from Pokeroo or Snuffleupagus or whatever I had there.
There you go.
That's good. I like that. Okay, last thing you get to say, Ian. I'm giving you the last word.
Okay, well, one of the last thing what I was working on before coming on here, and it'll be uploaded to the site tonight, is all the final. I got it done. The rules update. So with all the changes, and I said, hey, wait for it. That the actual rules on the site just needed to be updated. I finished it tonight, literally 5 minutes before coming on here. I just need to get the payouts, and that's going to be uploaded to the site so that all the current ones that we voted on over the past couple of years, the updates where I've made the post on Facebook, have now been actually put into the rules. So as a courtesy, what I'm going to ask GMs to do is that if they're looking for an answer to something, yes, it's very easy to type the answer to us, but the rules are going to be updated on the site, so you can search there in the rules. And there's also a little magnifying glass on Facebook. If you type in keywords on our thing, you can find posts on a lot of the stuff as well. So unless you can find it there, that's the easiest thing to do is search for the answers yourself before just reaching out to any of the blog members, because those work fantastic.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, boys, and see you next time. I guess maybe see you at the draft. That's usually when we see you on.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Later, Steve.
Okay.